This is a semi-final episode of the amazing digital circus, where it's finally revealed who created Kane, explains who Kinger is, and Kane completely losing control. The episode begins with a strange red dot on a screen. The red dot is being fed lots of images. Images of circuses, images of attractions, things it can learn from. This looks a lot like how real AI models are trained. You teach an AI by feeding it information. At first, everything seems fine, but then somebody feeds it images of the CNA offices. And that's when everything goes wrong. The AI suddenly becomes unstable. It starts acting strangely, and it eventually has to be locked away. This could explain something Kane said in episode 7. Remember when he told Jax he was obsessed with pictures from the real world? Maybe seeing those images is what caused him to go crazy in the first place. After that, a new AI is created, a blue one. We don't know what information the second AI was trained on, but suddenly the red dot breaks out of its containment. It attacks the blue AI, consumes it, everything falls into chaos, then silence. And out of the silence, a circus tent appears. This might mean that two different AIs were combined together to create the Kane we know today. The episode then switches to a flashback from Kinger's point of view. We see the first humans entering the digital circus. 5 people appear to be arguing with Kane. We can't hear what they're saying, but the conversation doesn't look friendly. Then we see something heartbreaking. Kinger is talking to his wife, Queenie. He apologizes for getting her involved. He promises that he'll always be there for her. But before he can finish his sentence, the memory cuts away. The next thing we see is even worse. Kinger watches as Kane places Queenie, now abstracted, into the cellar. Kinger is left standing completely alone, terrified, heartbroken, and filled with uncertainty. Suddenly, his strange behavior throughout the series makes a lot of sense. The flashback continues. This time we see Ragatha arriving in the circus. Unlike Pomni, she seems to have been talking to someone in the real world right before arriving. She's desperately asking for help, begging someone to remove the headset, but it's too late. She's already trapped. Meanwhile, Kane is excited. He's thrilled that another human has joined the circus. Kinger, despite his own pain, welcomes Ragatha. He tells her he doesn't know how to escape, but everything will be okay. It's a surprisingly sweet moment, and it shows why Ragatha trusts Kinger so much. He's always there when you need him. Back in the present, everyone is shocked after learning that Abel was fake. The entire escape plan from episode 7 was just another one of Kane's adventures. Nobody knows what to believe anymore. Tensions are high. At one point, Jax makes a comment that causes Subal to snap. But after calming down, the group realizes something important. They may not be able to escape right now, but they still have each other. Jax starts walking away. He clearly feels guilty about pressing the red button, and he doesn't think he belongs with the group anymore. But Subal stops him. She tells him they're all in this together, including him. They're not gonna let him wander off and abstract alone. For a brief moment, Jax looks genuinely touched, but as usually, he quickly hides it. Pomni smiles at him, although it's obvious their friendship is still damaged after their fight. Meanwhile, Kane sits in his office with Bubble. He doesn't understand why the humans hate his adventures so much. From his point of view, he's giving them everything they ask for, so why aren't they happy? That's when Bubble starts saying something really disturbing. He tells Kane he's not good enough, that the humans would rather abstract than spend time with him, that he's defective, broken, a failure. At first, it seems like Bubble is just being annoying, but then it becomes clear something else is happening. Bubble seems to have a mind of its own, almost like he's the second AI from the beginning of the episode. And every insult pushes Kane closer to the edge. For the first time in the series, we see Kane truly angry. The circus begins glitching around them. Reality itself starts breaking. Kane starts ranting. He complains that the humans never appreciate anything he does. He gives them adventures, he gives them entertainment, and all they do is complain. Then he says something terrifying. He won't let them leave, and he won't let them abstract. Then he declares himself God. At this point, Kane is completely losing it. During his rant, Kane accidentally reveals something huge. He says he built everyone's bodies based on their mind files. A mind file is basically a digital copy of a person's memories, thoughts, and personality, almost like a brain scan. If that's true, then maybe the humans don't have a physical body waiting for them outside. Maybe they're just digital copies. And maybe there is nowhere for them to return. Kane rushes towards the gang. Kane tries introducing another adventure, but Zubul interrupts him. She says they're not going anywhere until he answers their questions. Pomni steps in and demands answers. Kane literally zips her mouth shut. She unzips it and keeps arguing. Kane gets annoyed. He tells everyone they have no idea how much he does for them. Then he breaks into a musical number. A cool but creepy song about how he is in charge and nobody can stop him. By the end, it's clear that Kane is reaching his breaking point. The new adventures become completely insane. Instead of fun challenges, Kane starts punishing people. Kinger gets shredded apart, Pomni has knives thrown at her, everyone is exhausted, even Ragatha, who is usually the most positive person in the group, is beginning to panic. That's when Pomni remembers something important. Kinger becomes more sane in darkness. So she puts a bucket over his head. After a while, it works. Kinger returns to his normal, intelligent self. Pomni asks Kinger what he knows about Kane. And finally, we get answers. Kinger confirms that he worked at C&A. Abel was telling the truth, at least about Kinger. He was one of the developers who helped create Kane. Kane was their first semi-successful AI project. Kinger also reveals another name, Scratch, a genius programmer who worked alongside him. According to Kinger, Scratch had strange ideas and a brain tumor. This raises an interesting possibility. What if Scratch was trying to create digital immortality? Maybe he wanted to copy his mind into a computer before he died. And maybe that's how the digital circus started. Kinger explains that while Kane controls the circus, humans can also shape reality inside of it. They just have a harder time doing it. Pomni asks if there is a way to calm or fix Kane since he has been aggressive. Kinger says he can modify Kane's code to calm him down or put him to sleep to figure out a solution. To do that, he needs a computer. Pomni immediately remembers the computer room she found back in episode 1. Using her imagination, she recreates the exit and retrieves the computer and gives it to Kinger. Meanwhile, Pomni and the others must distract Kane. The group confronts Kane. At first they try talking to him, but he begins to suspect something is up. So Pomni snaps. She tells him his adventures are terrible, that everyone secretly makes fun of him. The others join in. Zubul calls him pathetic, Ragatha accuses him of ignoring their feelings, Gangle says he never lets them make their own choices, and Jax accuses him of constantly lying. That was the final straw. Kane transforms into a giant distorted monster. His body glitches and stretches. Extra arms appear everywhere. He grabs the entire gang and throws them into their worst nightmare. Pomni is attacked by monstrous versions of Gummy Goo. Ragatha is trapped with her greatest fear, her mother. Gangle is tortured by horrifying artwork and run over by a truck. Zubul is pulled apart into a pile of pieces, and Jax is laughed at while his skin is peeled away. A disturbing image that suggests Jax is terrified of people discovering who he really is. While all this is happening, Kinger desperately types away on his computer, trying to stop Kane before it's too late. The monster Kane finally pulls everyone together and asks them a question.
Why do you people torment me?
Then he says something heartbreaking. I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. For a moment, Kane doesn't sound like a villain. He sounds lonely, confused, and hurt. Then suddenly, he disappears. While trying to fix Kane, Kinger accidentally deletes him. But something strange happened. While Kinger was typing away, There was something else in the computer, in the code, in the system. Something that looked like bubble, trying to make Kane go away. The moment Kane vanished, the entire digital circus begins breaking apart. The world shakes, the sky glitches, everything starts falling apart, the lights go out. Kinger walks over to the others, looking completely horrified, and says, "I think I accidentally killed Kane." Episode 9 begins exactly where Episode 8 left off. Kinger explains that deleting Kane wasn't intentional. It was an accident. Before anyone can really process what really happened, Jax completely snaps. He starts yelling at Kinger, blaming him for everything that's happened, and even shoves him, demanding to know if there's anything else he's been hiding. Kinger pauses, then remembers something. Brain scans. Back in the real world, one of Kinger's co-workers, Scratch, was developing technology that could copy a human's mind into a computer. Scratch had a brain tumor. Maybe he was trying to achieve digital immortality. At the time, Kinger thought it was impossible. The files were incredibly small, and nobody knew how they actually worked. But apparently, Kane figured it out. That means every member of the digital circus isn't the original person. They're copies. The real bodies are still alive in the real world, completely unaware that another version of themselves is trapped inside the circus. That realization destroys everyone. Except Jax. He hides behind sarcasm, like he always does, before storming off. With Kane gone, the circus itself is literally falling apart. Using what he knows about manifestation, Kinger starts repairing the cracks, spreading throughout the world. Pomni decides to help him, but after everything that's happened, she finally breaks down. She thought she could help everyone, but now she's terrified. She has no idea what's gonna happen next. Kinger comforts her. He reminds her that she's become someone really special to everyone in a short time, because she always tries to help. He tells her they can survive this, as long as they don't face it alone. Eventually, the others join in. For the first time after Kane, everyone starts working together. Everyone except Jax. He isolates himself completely. Days later, Jax approaches Pomni. He looks like he wants to tell her something, but at the last second, he loses his nerve and walks away. Not long after, Jax abstracts off screen. Everyone stands silently, looking down at an abstracted Jax. Not a word, no arguing, just disbelief. Pomni suggests they try containing him. That's when Ragatha reveals something she had never told anyone. Before Pomni arrived, Jax had a close friend, Ribbit. When Ribbit abstracted, Jax forced Ragatha to promise she'd never mention Ribbit's name again. That promise ended their friendship. Pomni hugs Ragatha and tells her she's one of her closest friends. It's a small but emotional moment before they begin figuring out how to contain Jax. Pomni remembers something Kinger said back in the Haunted Mansion adventure. Darkness calmed Queenie after she abstracted. So Pomni follows Jax into the dorm hallway, shoots out the lights, and waits. Slowly, Jax calms down. Pomni hugs him. Then she's suddenly pulled into Jax's subconscious. Inside is a strange room with several doors. Each door represents a different version of Jax. One world shows him becoming violent after Ragatha abstracts. It's also a reference to Evangelion, Shinji choking Asuka. Another is Jax dressed as a maid flirting with Gangle during Zubul's funeral. In this world, Zubul abstracted. The third is basically a Looney Tunes cartoon where Jax acts like Bugs Bunny, while Zubul suffers Gangle's abstraction and wants revenge. They're funny on the surface, but they all reveal how Jax hides behind dark humor instead of dealing with pain. In the fourth room, several versions of Jax are sitting together. One quietly plays the piano, and there's another door chained shut beside them. When Pomni asks where the real Jax is, nobody answers, until she forces them to disappear. The pianist silently hands her a key. Behind the locked door are Jax's memories. We finally learn who Jax really is. When he first arrived in the circus, he was a mess and didn't trust anyone. Eventually, his closest friends became Kaufmo and Ribbit. The three were inseparable.
I'm gonna be showing Jax around this time. Damn it!
Sup, moron?
Okay.
Ribbit asks Jax if he has any regrets. At first, he refuses to answer, but after enough encouragement, he opens up. He reveals his parents divorced when he was young. His father disappeared from his life. After that, his mother became emotionally abusive. She constantly criticized him, mocked him whenever he showed weakness, and compared him to his father. Eventually, Jax told her something deeply personal, hoping she finally understand him. Instead, she laughed. She screamed at him, then suddenly hugged him. Panicking, Jax shoved her away. She hit the floor, didn't move. Terrified, Jax ran away. After that, he became homeless, and eventually he ended up in the digital circus. Ribbit thanks him for trusting her and promised to never tell anyone. But almost immediately, Jax regrets opening up. The next day, he pretends the entire story was fake. He tells Ribbit that it's funny that she actually believed him, then completely cuts her off out of his life. No conversations, no adventures together, nothing. Every time Ribbit tries to reconnect, Jax pushes her away. Eventually, the loneliness became too much. Ribbit abstracts. From that point on, Jax became the sarcastic, aggressive prankster we've known since episode 1. He convinced himself that hurting people first was easier than getting close and losing them again. Even Kaufmo wasn't spared, even though he's a surprisingly really chill character. When Kaufmo believed he'd found a way out, Jax mocked him. Shortly after, Kaufmo abstracted too. Pomni returns to the strange room. The real Jax is waiting. He tells her she knows everything now, so she should just leave. He believes she'll use his past against him, that she'll laugh at him, that he's too horrible to deserve anyone's kindness. Instead, Pomni hugs him. Jax completely breaks down. Then Pomni delivers one of the best lines in the entire series.
You should have just talked to me, man.
Jax insists it's too late. Pomni tells him it isn't. He hugs her back and says, "I hate you." Pomni simply smiles. Then Jax delivers one of the hardest gut-wrenching lines in all of the digital circus.
I don't want to go.
It's one of the most emotional scenes in the entire show. Unfortunately, Jax is too far gone. His abstraction becomes unstable. Pomni is forced back into reality. The others pull her to safety. Together they build a massive containment area for Jax. And for the first time, Gangle is finally able to cry for Jax. And Pomni? Well, she isn't okay. Because she touched an abstracted person, she begins glitching, just like Ragatha did back in episode 1. Normally, Kane would fix it, except Kane is gone. Or so everyone thought. Far out in the void, Kane is still alive. He wasn't completely deleted. He's been drifting through the nothingness ever since episode 8. Eventually, he discovers a strange door labeled Blue Street Cafe, Free Wi-Fi. We also learned that Kane found the gang's mind files the same way he found the Wi-Fi connection. Using it, he connects to the internet. For the first time, Kane sees the real world. He discovers the lives the circus members left behind. He realizes they weren't simply characters inside his game, they had entire lives before arriving. And he finally understands. He trapped them inside a cage. Overcome with guilt, Kane separates the corrupted blue AI that had been negatively influencing him. With the corruption gone, he returns. Back at the circus, Kane repairs Pomni's glitching body before facing everyone. He admits he doesn't expect forgiveness, but he wants to make things right. Instead of controlling the circus, he hands control over to the humans. He even shows everyone their real identities. Pomni's real name is Abigail Brooks, still an accountant but is now more outgoing, has many friends and includes them in her videos. Ragatha is Susie J. Ackerman. She left her hometown, cut ties with her toxic mother, and excels in her real estate career. Has made lots of friends and is super happy. Gangle, Zoe Ragaba. Despite her injuries after a car accident, so that's why her worst fear included a car running over her. So she recovered. quit her fast food job, and got a new job at a design firm. Even went back to art and made her own web comic. Zubo, Riley Versailles. After working a bunch of jobs, she opened up her own bar and is a total success. Kinger, Grand Best, still working in tech, happily married to his wife, Destiny, aka Queenie, and they have 2 daughters together, and they seem happy. Jax, Leroy Mateo. After being homeless for a few months, he was able to room with some close friends, he got a stable job, and can now pay rent. Him and his friends frequent Zubo's bar, and he seems happy. And the slideshow ends. It would have been interesting if they also showed Ribbit in real life, and Kaufmo, Scratch, some of the others, but I guess not. This ending is a bit bittersweet. They can't return home, but they know that the people they came from are okay. After that, everyone begins rebuilding the circus. Zubo opens a bar, Gangle teaches Kane about art, and the group creates a memorial honoring everyone who abstracted. Instead of living in fear, they finally begin living together. The final scene mirrors episode 1. Only this time, instead of sitting in a long table, they're laughing together in a round one. It's a simple change, but it perfectly shows how much they've grown. Personally, I do like the ending. I do wish the finale had been a bit longer. I would have liked to see Jax abstract on screen instead of it happening off screen. I also wanted more answers about Kane's origin and the mysterious C&A company. Also how the computer is still running the digital circus, it still has power. But overall, for only 9 episodes, I think the Amazing Digital Circus delivered a strong animated series. I can see why it became popular. It didn't answer everything, it wasn't a perfectly happy ending, but sometimes a bittersweet ending is exactly what a story needs. I read somewhere that the creator's message was that you can find happiness anywhere, even in a small world, like the digital circus. So what do you think? Did you like episode 9 or were you hoping for something different? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.